Welcome to the one-shot build for Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. First, I'll explain why should you run this. Well, the truth is, there's really no other way that you should be playing Leatherface. No other build on him, I think, is really viable or has any point to it. This is the only way to play him, man. You got to play him as a one-shot character and try to down people in one hit, or in most cases, 2 hits, as quickly as possible. With this build, most of the time, what's going to happen is you're going to hit someone. You're going to do a ton of damage with his overhead swing. They're going to go down for a second from that overhead swing, and then you are going to be able to hit a follow-up attack that will kill the person like 99% of the time. The only time I've ever seen anyone really survive it is if it's like an Anna using their ability, if they've pumped all their points into toughness, or if they are using the no-cell perk, which significantly reduces damage when they get hit the first 3 times. So that's why you should use this. So first, let's look at the ability, and this is really important. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're someone who mains Leatherface and you want to go for the one-shot build, it is going to be pure misery until you get level 2 and can buy the 20% more. The chainsaw can be used 20% more often before stalling. Before you get this, this is not a fun build to play. He's not a very fun character to play until you get this. Once you get this, you're going to start, one-shotting people, 1-2-shotting people left and right. I actually had a game just last night where I had been playing Leatherface a ton, and I was like, man, why is it that when I watch other people play, I'm like, I'm getting my chainsaw up for like 90% and hitting somebody, and then my chainsaw stalls out, and I'm like, why does my chainsaw stall out, and when I watch other people play, theirs doesn't? Because they have this perk in their ability tree. So I would definitely go to the right to reduce the overheat cooldown time before you can restart the chainsaw. As far as I know, these two do not stack for stalling resistance. So you can't take the first one and the second one to get 10% and 20% for a total of 30. That doesn't work. The second one overwrites the first one. And then you want to take the middle one, which allows you to start the chainsaw instantly. These other two are just not really worth it in my experience. It seems like reducing the chances of overheat from excessive revving, that all of these are not very helpful. Being able to start the chainsaw instantly is just going to save you a ton of time, and this is a game of seconds. It can be the difference between getting a kill or not, and you don't really need to reduce the overheat cooldown any further than you already have with the first perk in this tree. So this is the important thing, is the stalling resistance. For the skill tree, what you're going to do is you're going to go left, and the reason you want to go left is because you want to get big swings. There is some debate on what perks you should take for the one-shot build for Leatherface. The one thing that is not up for debate is big swings. You should take big swings on him every time, because he does not receive the downside of this perk. So it's just a flat damage increase because his swings do not use stamina. So normally this is a crazy big downside. Even at level 3, stamina consumption being 200% more costly is still a huge downside. And I would argue not worth it on any other character as a result. But on Leatherface, because he doesn't use stamina when he swings his chainsaw, there's no downside to this. So you absolutely should always take big swings. Once you get up here, I would say go to the left. And the reason that I would say go to the left is that even if for some reason you want Universal Donor, which I don't know why you would, like you should pretty much never be picking up blood buckets with Leatherface. It's a waste of time. Your job is to get kills, not to collect blood from buckets. And if you're playing him right, you're going to be getting a ton of blood from your kills anyway. And if you go left, you get way more skill points. So over here, you know, you get 5. If you go this way, you get 4, 5, 6. So you get 1 more. I said way more, but you get 1 more. And you get 2 different perks, one of which is Violent, which is one I'm using for my build. And then Master Key could potentially be something that you'd be interested in if you're running into lots of people latching doors. I'm not. I personally don't think it's really worth it since you can just chainsaw through the door anyway. And that's pretty fast. But if you want to save a few extra seconds, you take Master Key. Then you get 2 Cycle Charge, which a lot of people love. And then if you come all the way over here, the big thing you want is Brute Strength, which slightly increases melee damage for all family members, and it's a Grandpa perk. So this is what you want to take as far as the skill tree is concerned. And then obviously coming to these little, you know, side branches in order to get those extra skill points. So like I was talking about for the perks, this is what I personally run, which is big swings. This is not debatable. You should always take big swings no matter what. And then the rest are kind of debatable, and what I take is Violent, and I take Hysterical Strength. Now, why do I take these perks? Violent, I like to take because most games, if you get a kill, you fully fill your vial. So that means that after you get your first kill, you're going to now be doing 20% more damage for the rest of the match. And that's, you know, a big deal. That could be really big against certain characters like Anna when she's using her ability, or if you're going against anyone else who might be running like a toughness build like a Leland. So just a flat 20% damage increase that can be relied upon is really good. The next one is Hysterical Strength. I don't love this perk. If you wanted to swap it out, I wouldn't hate it. This is just one where it's like, hey, if you happen to be down below 15% stamina, getting an extra 15% damage is nice to have. You don't necessarily need to play around it. Like, I wouldn't recommend being like, okay, let me, you know, rev my chainsaw and try to get down to below 15% stamina so I could get that damage increase. You don't have to do that. This is just something where it's like, hey, if you happen to be down there, great, you'll get more damage. If you're not, it's fine. Looking at, and then obviously taking Brute Strength, that's standard. Always take that on as your Grandpa perk for Leatherface. As far as his other options, you could take Feral, and then that way it would save you points to put into Savagery, so you could put some of that into Endurance. Blood Harvesting, you really probably don't need above 25, because all you really want to do is get it to 25 so that you can have 100 points that you can put into your blood vial so that you can get Grandpa full level. Having Blood Harvesting at 25 is how you get to 100. So you could take Feral in order to put more points into Endurance if you wanted to. By the way, while I'm here, I will mention, I saw one YouTuber, they're not like a big YouTuber or anything, but it's someone I just randomly follow on TikTok. They made a video where they were like, oh my god, dude, this build is insane. And they were like, if you pump your Savagery up to max, and then you go to your loadout and you equip Feral, see, it'll go above 50, and you'll do even more damage. That doesn't work. Now, if you're someone out there who thinks that works, it doesn't work. It can be easily tested with Blood Harvesting. If you ever go above 50, you don't get any benefit from it, so it's a waste of time. Don't do it. You can take 2 Cycle Charge, but I personally have just never been in a situation where I've thought, man, I really need to get my stamina back quick. Like, he has tons of stamina. Even just running around with his chainsaw above his head, I've, like, very rarely reach a point where I'm like, oh man, I'm about to run out of stamina, I gotta stop and get my stamina back faster. It just doesn't happen. I've never felt like I've needed 2 Cycle Charge. One of the perks I've seen people talk about is the perk, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's the perk that makes it so you will deal more damage after you've been stunned. I don't think I get stunned enough to justify bringing that perk. It's not the worst thing in the world to bring, because you could make the argument like, well, how often do you get value out of hysterical strength? And there's definitely an argument to be made that you will get stunned more often than you will be below 15% stamina. So I could definitely see taking that perk in that sense. I personally just don't get stunned that much. And I also think that just future proofing this video, I think stuns are going to be fixed. So I don't think that this whole thing with people in the basement trying to stun you on a door over and over again is going to last very long. I imagine that's something that's going to be fixed within the next couple weeks. So I don't see it happen enough in a normal match to justify taking that perk. It's a good perk to have if you see the team you're going up against is a full pre-made and you suspect they might be trolls who want to permanently stun you on a door, but I don't see it enough in an average match to justify bringing it. The rest of these are just flat out bad. You don't need tracker tagged on him because you're trying to one-shot people. Nobody should survive. You're outside of your initial hit, so you shouldn't need any help from your teammates. They don't need that information because whenever you hit someone, they should just be flat out dead. As far as your attributes go, obviously we're pumping him up to max savagery. You got to get him to 25 blood harvesting so that he can have a full 100 points in his blood vial. You typically are not going to go feed Grandpa because you want to keep your violent at level, maxed out so you get that 20% damage increase. But you still want to have 100 so that if you get to a point in a match where, there's one or two victims left and Grandpa's at level 3 and he needs a little bit more blood, or maybe he's at level 4 and you want to get him to level 5, you can go ahead and dump him and finish off the rest of his leveling so that you can start spotting everybody no matter what. So that's why you're going to 25. The argument obviously could be made like, oh, make it less so it's easier to get, you have a smaller blood vial so it's easier to get full, so you could take greater advantage of violent. But I just don't think it's worth it. I think there's tons of scenarios where you're going to want to have the full 100 so you can get Grandpa full level. And then endurance at 43 because you're just taking the rest of your attribute points and dumping it into endurance. And then as far as gameplay goes, this is really important because I think that how you play Leatherface is really important. When you first start out the match, especially with this build, you're going to be running around trying to, hit one-shots as quickly as you possibly can. Once you, and you want to patrol gates and stuff, and you'll see here that, like, this is what I'm talking about. I get that initial hit, and then I get the free follow-up hit because of that level 2 perk on Leatherface's ability, which is a huge deal. So you want to be patrolling the basement, patrolling exits, try to learn the layout of the basement as well as you can. The layouts are pretty difficult, except for Family House. Family House is pretty crazy because Family House, all the exits are like right next to each other. You want to patrol those, and then obviously, if you're playing Leatherface, please go around and break stuff. You gotta break stuff. If you just don't help out your team, especially up above, that's killer. Breaking stuff in the basement is not as high of a priority because you should never go down there. The only time you should ever go down there as a family member is if there's one person left and they're in the basement and Grandpa's at level 5 and you saw that they're down there, or if you're on Slaughterhouse and you have to go down there to take care of the water valve that's just been turned on. Otherwise, you have no business going down there. And I personally think that if you're playing Leatherface, the moment that you have seen people are starting to make their way out of the basement, get out of there. Like, get out, man. There's nothing down there for you. Get upstairs, start cutting stuff down to help out your team and patrolling basement exits, especially on family house and on gas station. You have got to get upstairs and help patrol the 4 gates on gas station and patrol the basement exits on family house. You got to get up there and help. So yeah, you're gonna get out of the basement as quick as you can and help your team. Like, when you get upstairs, you need to cut those little, I don't know what you call them. They're like the Leatherface specific desks or something. I don't know what they're actually called. But you got to get up there and cut those as quickly as possible. Take out crawl spaces as quickly as possible. That's huge, especially on a map like Slaughterhouse, because there's tons of them. And just get up there and take out as many of them as you can, while also patrolling gates. Like, you see, I go take out this one right away because that one's like a really strong crawl space. Especially if they're trying to get water valve. They might come up from one of the other exits and try to go through there to avoid the family. So take out as many crawl spaces and stuff as you can. Saw doors if you need to, so you don't get door stunned. And then also when you're playing Leatherface, you should be running around like this with the chainsaw above your head, like 95% of the time. You should just be using your normal movement like that. Because there's no reason not to. You're super fast when you do it. It uses less stamina. And then if you do happen to run into somebody, you can potentially one-shot them. So you should be running around like that all the time. So, this is the one-shot build for Leatherface. Give it a try. Just know that you're probably going to have to suffer for a little bit until you can get that level 2 perk on his ability that gives him the 20%. The 20%. It's hard to like word it. The ability to use it 20% more often before stalling. But once you do get there and you have these perks, it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to be one-shotting people left and right. So give it a try. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you have fun once you get to level 2. But if you enjoyed the video, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next video.